In the last one that we were doing, it just happened that our first two combos that we chose worked perfectly. That happens occasionally, but most of the time it does not. So here's one that's definitely going to be a pain because we're going to have to try different combinations to get it. So we're asked to foil this guy. Doesn't look too bad, but the first thing you want to do is always see, is there any type of GCF before we do the foil? And we see, no matching set of parentheses, that's A. No letter that all of them have in common, that's a constant, so no to B. Number, but notice this middle term doesn't have a number. So if the middle term doesn't have a number, then they can't have a common number factor. But if you want, you could put a 1 here if that's going to help you when you start doing the foiling. And then the last, D, does it start with a negative? No. So there is no GCF. I'll keep on harping this over and over again. Every single question, you have to look to see if there's a GCF. Now that we know there's no GCF, we count how many terms are left over. 3 terms. It's a trinomial. When it's a trinomial, see if there's a leading coefficient. If there's no leading coefficient, shortcut. If there's a leading coefficient, you have to choose. It's either FOIL or the next method that we're going to learn, ARCH, or the AC method, the book calls it. Since we're doing FOIL, let's do our 2 sets of parentheses. That's it. That's all I need to do for setup. Just make sure that these are going to be binomials. Second, signs. Notice this is a minus sign. So minus sign always tells us that we're going to do different signs. So always look at the last sign of the trinomial, determine if it's same or different signs. In our case, different, which means 1 plus, 1 minus, always. Okay, step 3. Take the first term, the 12x squared, and break down the coefficient into combos. That's part A. So that's 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So now we have more combos to choose from. Step B, choose one of these combos. So again, it's random. We randomly chose the first one. Hey, maybe that works this time. And step C, if there's a ladder, break this evenly. So if I broke down the 12 as 1 and 12, break down x squared evenly as x and x. And they go with the 1 and 12 that you chose. Now that we did the leading term, step 4 is do the last term. Since the last term is a 20, just a constant, break it down, all the combos. Remember, always start with 1. There you go. Next, choose a combo. You just have to randomly choose one. So I'll do 1 and 20. Now that this looks almost like an answer, you're going to have to multiply this out. Either do your square and make it a 2 by 2 grid and multiply that way with that rectangle. Or, like I said, O and I. So we know that outside, remember the ones that are closest to the outside edges multiply. So 1x times negative 20 is negative 20x. And inside, the 2 internal ones, 1 times 12x, positive 12x. When you do this, we're going to get a negative 8x. Remember, negative and a positive subtract. Who wins the tug of war? 20 players, so team negative. Yeah, we're looking for a negative 1. Since this is an 8, we don't want to switch the signs. We want to maybe try to switch the combos. So notice I did 1 and 20. Maybe 20 and 1 will work. Let's try it. Let's do another O and I. 1x times negative 1. Yeah, that definitely changed. Negative 1x. And my inners? Ooh, 20 times 12x. That's going to give you 240x. So you can see this is way off. 239x, nowhere near negative 1x. Okay, so I tried the 20 and the 1 and the 1 and the 20. So then what I suggest to do is choose a different combo. Now I like to always change the constants, but you could also change the leading one coefficients as well. So I did 1 and 20. Maybe I should choose the 2 and the 10. 2, 10. Remember, do our O and I again. Negative 10x. Positive 24x. That's going to give us a positive 14x. Yeah, it's not a negative. Okay. Remember, just because 2 and 10 doesn't work, flip it. Try 10 and 2. Alright. Again, do another O and I. Negative 2x. Positive 120x. This is going to give you a positive 118x. That's still way off. Okay, so I tried 2 and 10, I tried 10 and 2. Both of them did not work. So let's try a different combination. Hey, we didn't try the 4 and the 5. So let's do 4 and 5 here to see if that works. Again, another O and I. So, negative 5x. That's different. Haven't gotten negative 5x before. 4 and 12, that's 48x. You can see 43x is not a winner. Okay, now I did 4 and 5. Switch the order. Now you can see why I hate this method and why it can be frustrating to the beginners. Because by just switching, we're going to get a different guy. We're going to get an O and I of negative 4x, and then the inner 60x. Another combination that did not work. Now you said I did the 1 and the 20, and then the 20 and the 1, the 2 and the 10, and the 10 and the 2, the 4 and the 5, and the 5 and the 4. Hey, I switched all these combos around. I hate to say this, we only did the 1 and the 12. Now just imagine, you have to do 2 and a 6 was the 1 and the 20, 2 and a 6 was the 20 and the 1, 2 and a 6 was the 2 and the 10, 2 and a 6 was the 10 and the 2, 2 and a 6 was the 4 and the 5, 2 and a 6 was the 5 and the 4. And if that doesn't work, then you have to do the 3 and the 4. This is why it's frustrating to students. Now I can give you some things that you learn when you become a pro at this. If the number is pretty large or pretty small, you either want to try to pick out combos that are extremely large or combos that have not much of a difference between the numbers. So like either large combos like the 1 and the 20 and the 1 and the 12, and we saw that didn't work, or combos that there's not much of a change. See how this is only a change of 1 space and this is a change of 1 space? So let me try this combo instead of going for the 2 and the 6 guy. So, erase, and let's try the 3 and the 4. Just randomly, 3 and then the 4. And instead of using the 1 and the 20 and the 2 and the 10, remember, try to do the smaller one. Since there's a small difference, we want to try to find the ones that have small differences. So I have the 5 and then the 4. We'll see if that works. Again, O and I. So here we have negative 12x. Here we get a positive 20x. So here I get 8x. No match. Well, remember, we did 5 and 4. How about 4 and 5? Let's see. O and I again. Negative 15x. Positive 16x. Hey, notice we get positive 1x. This is the closest that we've been. We got the number, we don't have the sign. Well, instead of choosing different combinations, if you're only off by the sign, then remember how we have a plus and a minus here? We can also flip the signs. Make this the minus. Make this the plus. If I do O and I, positive 15x, inners, negative 16x. Remember, because 16 is bigger, the negative team wins. Finally, negative 1x, negative 1x. Your final answer is 3x minus 4 and 4x plus 5. Remember, if you were doing 2 and 6, you would have to exhaust all this to realize it's not 2 and 6 to move down to 3 and 4. This is why people hate the trial and error method, because we have to try this combo to finally find a combo that we stumble upon to get the right one. And again, imagine if this was prime, that you did all this, and then all this work, and all this work to find no answer at all. That's why I'm going to tell you, if you don't like this method, which most of you won't, really pay attention to the next one. It's 6.4. The book calls it AC method. I call it the arch method. It does have more steps. I hate to say that. It has almost 8 steps to solve. But if you go through the 8 steps, you'll get the answer. Or you'll know that it's prime. You don't have to try different combinations. But for people who are pro level, they like the challenge. They like the puzzle. They like putting the pieces together. So if you're that type of person, feel free to learn the FOIL method. But if you don't like this, and most beginners don't, pay attention to 6.4.